The purpose of studying the 5 types of clause is able to be introduced as 2. The 5 types of a clause as a tool to analyze a complete clause is applied to verify that the speaker arranges every word to constitute the clause consistent with the trait of each word. The 5 types of a clause ultimately purpose to figure out the exact intention of the speaker. The 5 types of clause are the result concluded from the inductive analysis on the various clauses. We've checked the exceptional case with the object of the subjective complement. There is a clause whose structure cannot be classified into the 5 types of clause. That is the clause stated in the perspective of the indirect object from the 4th type of clause to describe the subject, direct object, indirect object relationship. So, the perspective that every clause is classified into the 5 types will be excluded. However, the 5 types of clause are introduced because it's a helpful tool for analyzing a clause. The reasons why the 5 types of clause are introduced are 2. Firstly, the 5 types of clause are helpful for the listeners who analyze a new clause to have the confidence to analyze the new clause from the experience of analyzing the other clauses that have the same type of clauses as the new clause. Is the purpose to study the 5 types of clause. Secondly, the listeners who analyze a clause that occurs with one among the 5 types distinguish the phrase of each constituent and the only word that the speaker considers as the core of each phrase of the constituent. The second purpose is classified into 2 actually. For example, let's analyze this clause. The subject of this clause is the phrase of the noun, the principal. The transitive verb a word describes the subject, the principal. And we can think of the type of the verb a word. The definition of the transitive verb a word supposes the existence of the direct object. To get the definition of the transitive verb a word from the subject very first, and the existence of the indirect object to get the definition of the transitive verb and the direct object from the subject. Before we read the other part of the clause, we can think of probability. The clause is stated in the 3rd type of clause. We can think of the speaker states the clause to focus on the range of the direct object. And then we will read the other part of the clause. The certificate for verifying his stamina to the boy. We read the other part of the clause because we verified the type of the clause is the transitive verb, we face the point to determine the type of the object. The phrasal noun, the certificate, is a phrase of indication. For verifying his stamina, this phrase of the preposition for forms a unit of the preposition for, because the gerund verifying is the object of the preposition for, and the phrase of the noun his stamina is the object of the gerund verifying. So the phrase of the preposition works as a unit. And there is another preposition too. The preposition is applied in a clause with the object to get the definition of the preposition. So, to the boy forms a unit of an adverb. The object, the certificate, the object of the transitive verb a word, because the preposition for forms a unit that is not considered as a constituent of the clause. The phrase of the preposition to forms a unit that is not considered as a constituent of this clause. This clause is classified as the third type of clause. Subject, the transitive verb, the object. Then let's find out the core word in each unit. The core word for the subject is the indication. So the core word of the subject is the noun principal. The transitive verb a word describes the subject as the only word. The core word in the object is also an indicative word, because the subject and the object purpose to indicate a subject or an object. So the determiner is the descriptive word. The word certificate is the core word. How about the phrase of the preposition for? The preposition for is the core word in the phrase of the preposition, because the gerund gets the definition of the preposition for, and the phrase of the noun his stamina gets the definition of the gerund verifying. So the preposition for is the core word in the phrase of the preposition. In the same way, the core word in the phrase of the preposition to is the preposition to. The second purpose is classified into the two benefits.